Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Tishaura Jones, Treasurer, City of St. Louis, and Ginger Imster, Executive Director, Arch Grants, to present the Right Arm Award.
Good evening. Thanks again to the musicians and dancers who call our attention to creativity and commitment. Before we introduce this year's recipient, we'd like to recognize and thank the 2015 Right Arm of St. Louis sponsors, Arcturus, MasterCard, the St. Louis Blues, and the Peabody Opera House. Each of these companies are recognized as leaders and innovators within their industries. 2015 is the 40th year this chamber has presented the Right Arm of St. Louis to an outstanding leader of the region. Past recipients have included Dr. Bill Danforth, Senator John Danforth, Jack and Andy Taylor, Dr. Mark Wrighton, John McDonnell, U.S. Representative Jerry Costello, and the Schnook family.
Tonight we have several previous honorees with us. Would the following Right Arm of St. Louis awardees please stand? Dr. Blanche Tuhill, Senator Kit Bond, and last year's honoree, the Honorable Frankie Muse Freeman. While these leaders represent a wide range of expertise, each of the honorees exemplifies the essential spirit of St. Louis. Tonight we honor another extraordinary individual who epitomizes what we stand for, the true spirit of St. Louis. Before we announce this year's recipient, I'd like to ask Suzanne, Joe, and Dr. Dwan Warmack to join me on the stage.
Let me tell you about our 2015 Right Arm of St. Louis honoree. Long after many of us might choose to give back just a little less, this year's honoree continues to have great passion for his work and the people of our region. He grew up in a rigidly segregated era in East Chicago, Indiana. Yet he had teachers encourage him to go beyond his circumstances, to go beyond high school.
He graduated with Bachelor of Science and Doctor of Dental Surgery degrees from Indiana University, then did his postgraduate training at Washington University Dental School and Homer G. Phillips Hospital. He served as Chief of Oral Surgery at Delaware's Dover Air Force Base and went on to become the first African American to serve as an Associate Clinical Professor at St. Louis University Dental School.
Might I also add, he pulled all of my teeth. Our honoree continues to have great passion for higher education, and part of his platform is to see that the next generation has even greater opportunities than he had. The University of Missouri-Columbia, Southeast Missouri State University, Harris-Stowe State University, Missouri State University, St. Louis Community College, Maryville University, and Webster University provide annual scholarships in his name.
It's perhaps evident from what we've already said, but this honoree epitomizes what it means to be a public servant. His community engagement extends back to the civil rights movement in the 60s and 70s when he served as chairman of the Poor People's March on Washington, an event planned by the Reverend Martin Luther King Jr., and which took place just a month after Reverend King's assassination. Later, he became founder and chairman of the African Continuum, organized to bring serious, non-commercial African-American artistic endeavors to St. Louis, and a founding member of the Museum of African Art in New York City. He sits on almost 30 boards, representing St. Louis business, education, health, and the creative arts. He founded the United Way Charmaine Chapman Leadership Society, the #1 philanthropic program for the African-American community in the St. Louis region and throughout the country. More than 850 local individuals make annual commitments to our region through the Charmaine Chapman Leadership Society. In addition, he was the first African American to serve as president of the Convention and Visitors Bureau of St. Louis.
Our honoree carries himself with the highest level of integrity and encourages the next generation of leaders, those who come behind him, to do so as well. Among his many other honors, he was named St. Louis Citizen of the Year in 2004, Junior Achievement Anheuser-Busch St. Louis Business Hall of Fame laureate, and bestowed with honorary doctorate degrees from Washington University, the University of Missouri St. Louis University, and Harris-Stowe State University.
Our honoree is an innovator, an entrepreneur. In 1980, he and two partners purchased the then struggling St. Louis American. 4 years later, he was majority shareholder, raised capital, reduced debt, added staff, and recast the paid tabloid into a free community weekly. Today, the award-winning St. Louis American is the largest independent newspaper in Missouri and one of the largest African-American papers in the nation. Tonight, we proudly recognize his lifetime of achievements with our own 2015 Right Arm Award of St. Louis. Let me share with you something that he said. Everything starts with family, and you want to make your parents proud. My parents worked very hard to give me opportunities they did not have. I'm sure we're all sure that he's made his parents proud. He certainly made St. Louis proud. As we honor him tonight, I think we can sum up his impact on our region this way. When we say his name, we are defining leadership.
A retired oral surgeon, a respected innovator and entrepreneur, a patron of the arts, a dedicated mentor to young leaders, and a distinguished community leader.
Please stand and help us celebrate Dr. Donald M. Suggs.